Hi, everybody. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority, with another Healing Matters podcast. And remember to like, subscribe, that whole stuff. My website is strategichealing.us. My Facebook is Strategic Healing. My YouTube is Jason Eagle QRA. And today we're talking about psoriasis. Now, there's also, it's known as what's called plaque psoriasis. And people go, are they different or the same thing? They're the same thing, and I'll describe that to you. So, first of all, let's talk about like general skin concerns, because there's eczema, there's psoriasis, there's contact dermatitis, there's acne, there's blah, 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 all these things. Let's talk about first, because they all fall under the heading of skin concerns. Skin concerns often linked to hormonal imbalances, deficiency of fatty acids, those are related. If you've heard me talk before, hormones are fat soluble. So if you're having hormone problems, then that means you're not digesting fat very well. That means your gallbladder's not working very well. That means that whole system's not working. Deficiency of essential fatty acids, consumption of toxic oils, hydrogenated fats, a lot of fried foods, underlying infection of the skin and other organs, low pH due to deficient minerals, lack of natural sunlight. This is huge. Skin needs sunlight. And when we talk about the cholesterol that's in the skin, that's what converts to vitamin D. Okay, and when we're going to get into a little bit later, psoriasis is a short circuit in what's called the citric acid cycle or the Krebs cycle, in terms of you are producing too many cells 10 times faster. That's what a classic psoriasis would mean, is cells multiply up to 10 times faster. That's why it gets all scaly in this. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit too about, we've heard about plaque. Is there other plaque? Well, there's dental plaque, then there's arterial plaque, and then there's the skin plaque. Are they the same thing? Are they different? You'll be very excited to know that they are related and they're all connected, okay? A lack of natural sunlight. The large intestine is directly related to the body's surface skin in Oriental medicine. Hypoadrenal conditions such as lack of salt in the diet, lack of sleep, protracted stress. One of the main treatments of any skin condition, in particular psoriasis, is you are too stressed. You're running your engine too fast, and basically sitting at the gas or sitting at the stoplight with your foot on the brake and your foot at the gas at the same time, revving your engine, working your body too hard. And poor eating habits can also lead to chronic skin conditions. Also, weak kidney function can allow the lymph to congest. The lymph is your immune system, and it's in your skin, in every part of your body. And so if your garbage dump doesn't work fast enough, you build up too much garbage, and it's these dead skin cells. Allow the lymph to congest, and then the skin is used to dump the waste products. That's why oftentimes when you see the classic, where do you see psoriasis, it's going to be around the elbows, it's going to be around the joints. You'll see that where you have mild, it's going to be around one joint, like say the elbow or on the knee. Then it adds to another knee. And then when it gets really severe, you'll see it around the belly and even around the neck, but definitely around all the joints. That's an indication, that's a key as to where it's waste products accumulating. And so when it cannot be dumped through your bowels and it cannot be dumped through your urine, it has to come out of the skin. So literally, it's like you are sweating out, oozing out poison. So so again, psoriasis or eczema is, if you put, like say, an acid on a person or a poison on a person's skin, they would get the same type of reaction. That's why a lot of times they start off with, say, it's contact dermatitis, meaning dishpan hands, or like you touch something that is toxic to your skin. But this is not from the outside in, this is the inside out, okay? Let's see. Yep, and the skin is used to dump waste products, okay? Now, special note, chronic skin symptoms, and this would be, psoriasis would be a chronic skin symptom, is often linked to toxic dental materials, linking a leaking root canal teeth Root canal teeth contain toxic heavy metals, lead, barium, cadmium, and gradually leach out via the gums into the lymphatic system, which can often congest in specific skin areas. That's why you see it around the joints, because it congests in the joints. So the joints, knees, elbows, these particular things, if you were to dissect a person, you would notice that there's blood flow around. There are blood vessels that are around a joint. Cut a joint open, there's no blood flow. Like a chicken bone, there's no blood flow directly in there. Why? Because it's the design. You know, the elbows and knees can dislocate very easy. And if they were to pop and break blood vessels, you'd bleed to death. So they need the blood. They need the stuff that's in the blood, oxygen, food, and the waste products to be taken away. But it has to leach out of there and leach in there. And its flow is slowed down, including the lymphatic flow. So these are garbage dump areas. These are swamp areas where if you're swampy in the body, lots of dirtiness, and you can't clean it out, it will then can accumulate. When you have a river that's going through where it takes that big bend, and that's where, when the flood happens, that's where the tree branches accumulate, and then it becomes stagnant, and the flow is reduced, and that's where you start to see the mosquitoes, and then the swamp, and it becomes mucky and yucky. Whereas where it's flowing good in the bloodstream, it's clean and fresh, and you don't have that same swampiness. So the joints can be swampy areas, and there, when you see conditions in the joints, like a skin condition, it's because they're poisonous and they're leaching poisons out. But it's the canary in the coal mine telling you there's something going on in your whole body, okay? And again, the big one thing is a lot of people forget about the dental. Forget about how toxic dental can be. How a old root canal can have a lot of these toxins, but it can also be, literally, it's a dead shell, dead snail locked in the shell, just stinking up the joint. A dead fish in the garbage can, and you can clean up the kitchen all you want and put your Febreze in there, and it's not going to fix it, because if the dead stinky thing is inside the bottom of the garbage can, it's stinking up the whole joint, and you got to get rid of that trash. Okay, what would be psoriasis? Psoriasis looks like red, inflamed, bumpy, scaly. Okay. It's non-contagious. A lot of people look at these people and go, oh my God, like stay away, because it looks bad. When you got a bad skin psoriasis, you know, poor people, they have to cover up and everything. And people look at them and they almost think of kind of like, scabies, or they think of like, just real contagious type of disease. And they're like, whoa, I want to hang back from that person. You can't catch it from another person, okay? But again, like I said, is one of the things it's known to be, psoriasis in particular, is that there's a breakdown, a short circuit in what's called the Krebs cycle, the citric acid cycle. The citric acid, or the Krebs cycle, is a process that every single cell does, and it's how it releases stored energy. You have to get energy from food, hey Rob, but you also have to get energy from your stored energy. We store energy in our fat, we store energy in our liver, which is called glycogen reserves. And basically, we always carry a backpack with us. Wherever we go, we carry a little bit of a snack to keep us going. So when the body goes through this, it's a whole chemical cycle. What you look into is called the Krebs cycle. It's this turns into this, that turns into this. And it's part of what's called the oxidative process, which is, think about a fire. That's why they talk about it's what's called the thermogenic process. And the thermogenic meaning thermo, heat, and genesis meaning genesis, hi Dawn, is it's genesis. It's the birth of something. So you create new cells out of breaking open, heating them up and breaking open cells. And then when we get into what's called the oxidation process, that's a fire. You got to blow on a fire. If you put the lid on the stove fire, it goes out. Okay, so you have to add oxygen. So oxygen is this thing that whole processes, every single cell is on fire, and it literally has this cellular metabolism, this chemical fire type of thing, that's how it breaks open. It cracks its egg and it opens up this energy, and the energy then goes through the whole system. So one of the top things of when we see what's called psoriasis and a breakdown in the citric acid cycle. What fixes that? What fixes that is folic acid, one of the B vitamins. Now, where do we also hear about folic acid? It's the most important prenatal vitamin, meaning when a lady is pregnant, she has to be on folic acid because folic acid deficiency will produce spina bifida. Okay, this is related, which is the baby when it's growing inside, its Krebs cycle also, it will grow things out of proportion. When it's really bad, the spinal cord grows outside of the body. It's horrible. It's really bad. But so a folic acid type of thing, and again, people go, well, was I born with it? Some people do have these things and genetic type of things where they're not born without it. It's just you eat it up too much. And then the other thing is people can develop this, which is highly stressed people that don't have enough stress management, people that don't know how to basically, meditate, exercise, chill out, honey bunny, whatever. We get into lithium, we get into tyrosine, we get into selenomethylthionine. There's all kinds of things. GABA, there's all types of things that are these natural supplements, but the B vitamins are one of the top things. I'll remind people that Dr. Marshall used to talk about this, which is, over in Europe, especially in Germany, now they know drugs. They are the best makers of drugs, and they're not shy about drugs. But the doctors over there, if you come into their office and you say, I'm depressed, or I am this, or whatever, a classic doctor here may put you on, let's say, a Prozac or an SSRI or something like that. They're not allowed to do that until they first put you on a B complex. And 9 times out of 10, well, I don't know, I'm just guessing at that. But the reason is because a B complex deficiency is usually at the base of depression. A lot of these things where you get into real deep stuff like, bipolar and schizophrenia and again, anxiety disorders. Stress management, people go, and again, when you have a person that has a anxiety disorder that's related to a deficiency, you can meditate, you can pray, you can work out all you want, and it doesn't fix it. Now, there's a lot of people too that have found, for instance, that exercising, the type A personality, which is just go out and just keep working. They're stressful, they can't sit still, and so they can't work it. Now, these people, that's part of their stress management, but if that's the only trick that you got, you are burning these are the people that die early. They really do. And you can have a person that type A that lives a long time, but you have no idea. Maybe they die in their 80s, but they really should have lived like 120 or more. So, hey, Emily, it's good to see you. I'm answering a question right here on the Facebook because I've told so many people dealing with depression to get them, but sadly, they're the B vitamins correctly. B vitamins definitely help with depression and anxiety issues. Yes, the PRL's multi-liquid. PRL has a great B vitamins, and I'm going to get to that, which is in the answers. But I'll tell you right now, Max Stress B is a liquid, which has all of the B vitamins, very high in the B vitamins. These are the N-chain forms, which is called 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. They also make a new one called Complete B, which has a lowered amount of folic acid. But again, you don't need a whole bunch. And then you can also get the folic acid just by itself, okay? So let me get back to that, which is this whole chemical process of, so people that have high levels of stress and adrenal dysfunction and all this other stuff and poisons. So how does this relate? If a person's body is too toxic, their body is working really hard to clean them out when they're just sitting there. So again, they're burning up their resources. And so by supplying the things that B12, B12 helps with energy, but no, B12 is one of the Bs, but folic acid is the one that is the most important one for this skin condition of psoriasis. Okay, but again, it's not necessarily that you were born with a deficiency or born with a genetic anomaly. That can be that. But the point is all a genetic anomaly, or let's say a genetic disorder says is, if you had known your recipe book, then you should have done more of this. And if you then lived in a life with this particular thing and then had also environmental types of things, you grow up in a stressful life, you have stressful in your family, these types of things, a stressful personality, you know, the type A, they got to get the good grades or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different things. So is it nature or is it nurture? It's both, okay? And if you knew what the truth was, all it tells you is this is what you should have. You know, some cars need premium gasoline, right? And if you don't put premium gasoline in them, you'll ruin the engine much faster. Some you can just go with regular unleaded gasoline. Wouldn't it be nice to know that's where you're at? And rather than treating these different types of things. Now, when you get into the standard medical treatment, they're using steroid creams and different types of stuff, but they also agree. This is when, you know, this is one of the type of things when you look it up and say, well, what do they treat this with? They use a lot of natural stuff. And one of the top on their list is stress management. Okay, so even the top medical doctors, you can go to these websites that are these psoriasis drugs. They also say you need stress management, you need UV light therapy. That can be being outside, get your sunshine without having any, at least 20 minutes without having any sunscreen on it. Where your psoriasis part is, put it out in the sun. You can also, I've talked about this before, you can also get a reptile light bulb, right? And you just put it in a regular outlet and then you just put it right on there. And don't put it too close, but literally probably maybe about a foot away from it. And you're only going to be there for maybe about 3 to 5 minutes. But if you do it every day, and that will definitely heal that, because again, is what it's doing is it's helping with this whole Krebs cycle. It's helping to put more energy in. See, that's the thing is people don't understand too that like we're flesh and blood, but you're also just like a robot. You are a living robot, which means it needs a battery. It needs energy. You produce energy. You are a fusion nuclear device. Your body takes energy from food. Now, where did the food get its energy from? It got its energy from the sun. The animals that eat the plants and the plants that eat the sun, everything is a sun eater. Everything is a light eater. We are light eaters and we're light emitters, okay? So light is everything. Okay, and we convert energy. And again, how do we make vitamin D, which is so important for the immune system, for the skin, for bone growth, for everything? It's people go, well, I take my vitamin D. It's better to make your own. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a vitamin D, but you should also be getting sunlight. And then there's UVB. UVA, there are these tanning booth type of things that have, you know, the good bulbs. But again, you can go online and just get a cheap reptile bulb because the reptiles need that. They will die. So like a snake or what is it? Lizards and things like that. Don't look straight into it. Put your eyes because it can damage the eyes. Again, people, you can get those sunglasses, or you can get those little, tanning booth glasses or something like that. If you're going to put it in your sauna or something like that. But if it's on your skin, you just have to shine it right on the area where the skin is. Then there's another thing, which is an old-timey remedy, which is called coal tar soaps. People go, well, coal tar, that's poison. No, not really. It can be very, very heat. There's pine tar and there's coal tar. They make some old coal tar soaps and even coal tar creams. It pulls toxins out. It grabs, it's the same thing as like activated charcoal. If a person's been poisoned, you take activated charcoal and it would suck the poisons out. Okay, so that's another thing. Now let me get into this other thing, which is this word plaque. Okay, because there has been a lot of association with plaque psoriasis and cardiovascular risk. Now, again, there's plaque. Most people have seen the commercials about dental plaque. That's why you brush your teeth. Dental plaque is this stuff that forms on the teeth that holds onto bacteria, that is like eats up sugars and then secretes this acid that digests and dissolves your teeth. Okay, now there's also what's called the cardiovascular plaque, which is it's excess buildup of dead tissues, okay? And then when it builds up in the arteries, then your arteries become too unflexible and you can have a stroke. You can literally have a blast out, Okay, that's the same thing. And then the same thing on the skin, which is when you look at the plaque that is on the what's called, it's the same thing. Like I said, it is the scale, the cells are we're replicating 10 times faster, which means it builds up layers of dead skin. That's why it also can have some infection type of thing, because these layers of dead skin can harbor all kinds of bacteria and other things that live inside there. And then that's an immune stress as well too. Now, again, the infection that I've also talked about that can be inside the body, which is it can be inside the guts. People that have really dirty guts, because remember I said, if you can't poop it out, it's got to come out of your skin. Okay, so, and it would detoxify your skin. So a lot of the other thing that's really good for the plaque psoriasis is clean your guts out. Do a colon cleanse, do a liver cleanse, colonics, enemas, coffee enemas. But again, clean eating too. Eat your greens, do your green juices, get off of the heavy, fried foods and all this other stuff, heavy cooked foods. Clean yourself out for a little while. And that's a big thing. Now, again, getting into this plaque, is a plaque psoriasis an indication that you may be having something going on in your cardiovascular? Because if it grows there, is it growing there too? Yes, there's a definite relationship. So plaque psoriasis is something that we also want to think of as a canary in the coal mine, which is, could it be going on inside my body? Yes. Now, one of the other things that has also been shown to treat a lot of cardiovascular thing is something as simple as the sunlight. The B vitamins too, cleaning the system out, getting rid of the bad cholesterol with the false cholesterol types of things, but also increasing the dietary fats. Cleaning the liver gallbladder out, like I said, is many times people should take an olive oil, coconut oil, fish oil. But if you have this plaque psoriasis, you probably also need to take the limonene. You probably also need to take lecithin, which is you need something to digest the fat, emulsify the fat. Because if you're swallowing the fat that should be good for you, but it can't get there, it just goes right through you, then you need something to deliver that fat. And as I said, is one of the things in this whole short circuit thing, in terms of it's replicating too fast, always thinks hormones, the growth hormone. So if your growth hormones are off because as a hormone, it cannot be absorbed by the fat metabolism, then that means you are cycling too fast. Your hormones are running this. So your hormones are off, and hormones are fat metabolism. So when you get good fat metabolism and you increase the dietary, the good fats, DHA, fish oil, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, sesame oil. You can even rub this stuff on topically. It helps. There's also some really good anti-infective stuff that is really good for that scaly, bumpy stuff that I said it could have infection inside there. And that's an ozone cream. You can get an olive oil that has ozone, which is, those are 3 oxygen. It's an oxygen. And 3 oxygen, like hydrogen peroxide, will kill any infection, right? Bubbles up on the scar. Will do the same thing on the skin. That helps to kill the topical infection in there and then start to heal it. Because sometimes you got to come from both sides, the inside and the outside. I think that's it. I think that covers it. The biggies are the... I do want to say this, which is the biggies are detoxifying. Now, the other thing that can be really good for skin conditions is the Castor Oil Packs. The Castor Oil Packs is something that you can put on the skin, that you can, go through the whole thing. In my old videos, I've done stuff on it. You can look it up, which is you get this really good healthy castor oil, this hexane-free castor oil, organic castor oil. You can find it at the health food store. You get some cotton flannel, organic cotton flannel. You get 3 layers of it, and you soak those 3 layers with the castor oil, and then you put it on the area, and then you put a hot pack on it, or even a hot water bottle, and leave it on there for about an hour or longer. Where do you put it? You can put it directly on those areas, so where my psoriasis is, but I would highly recommend you put it on your detox organs. Put it on the guts, put it on the intestines, which would be hip to hip on your belly. You can put it on your liver, which would be liver gallbladder, your right side under the right breast. right in that rib cage. And then you can put it on the back right over your kidneys because you're trying to get those organs to stimulate. You're trying to get those, you're trying to clean those organs out. And are the toxins going into the pad? No, not really. But what it's doing is it's causing a reaction inside the body. And castor oil is a fat. A fat causes a detox. It literally causes our body to start dumping things faster and cleaning it out. So that's been a huge, huge thing that really, really helps. And then the other thing is that we can also externally put on, I talked about the ozone, which is anti-infective. Neem oil. Neem oil is this other thing that can be rubbed on these skin affected areas because it's also, neem is the dental plant. It's called the toothbrush tree in India. Now, neem in Ayurvedic medicine is used for everything, every single thing that is going on in the body. Neem helps and fixes, but it's really good for killing infection, really good for skin conditions, really good for the dental things. It kills the dental plaque. That's why it's used as a toothbrush tree, and it's used and put in a lot of toothpastes because it keeps the plaque from forming. It will keep the plaque from forming on the skin. It will literally not only kill the infection, but also heal that whole thing about why is it replicating so fast. And as I said, the whole Krebs cycle type of thing, that's the folic acid, I've seen that help dramatically, which is skin conditions and anxiety. As I said, they're related. B vitamins are one of the big keys, huge keys. So, all right, that's psoriasis, and I think I did the whole thing, and there we go. So until next time, thanks everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for all the comments today, and I'll see you later.